Ultimately, this year, we saw the best and the worst of humanity. We saw the brave women who testified against Alec Murdaugh during his trial. We saw the financial victims who managed to show so much grace and forgiveness, all for a man who took advantage of their pain. We saw our listeners, time and time again, show up for us and stand up for us when it mattered the most. Y'all sent us letters of praise and encouragement and reminded us 1,000 times over how important the work that we do really is and how we must keep going. We even got praise from the Sheryl Crow this year. I still can't believe that happened. And then we saw a lot of awful people do some really horrible things. We saw Dick and Jim play mind games with the Satterfields. We saw filthy rich PMPED attorneys cutting the lines of victims. We saw Russell and his attorneys go to great lengths to procrastinate his prison time. We saw attorneys elbowing each other out for just a taste of the Murdaugh attention. And we saw members of the media purposely spin the truth on behalf of bad people. In February, the prosecution scored one of its biggest wins throughout the entire trial by getting Judge Newman to allow evidence related to Alec's financial crimes on the record. You know, it is frustrating looking back on everything that happened during the trial and seeing just how many obvious and stupid mistakes Team Murdaugh made. Mistakes that they might get to fix if they get around to due to Becky's reckless mistakes. One of those Team Murdaugh mistakes happened in early February, as Jim Griffin was cross-examining one of Paul Murdaugh's best friends, Will Loving. Jim played a birthday video showing the Murdaugh family, along with Chris Wilson, celebrating Alec Murdaugh's last birthday as a free man. Griffin wanted to show the jurors that they were a happy, loving family, and he asked Will Loving if he believed Alec had a reason to kill his family. With that question, the door to the financial crimes swung wide open, allowing Creighton Waters to do this.
Who's that guy in the green shirt? Do you know?
That's Chris Wilson.
Do you know Chris Wilson's relationship to Alec Wilson or Alec Murdaugh?
Yeah, I think they're best friends.
Best friends. Best friends should do each other right, isn't that correct?
And then he did this.
Did you know anything about Alec's finances?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about his law practice?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he gets his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he was spending his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about what his bank account balances were?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you know anything about the debt that he was carrying? Do you know anything about that?
No, sir.
Did you know the specific things that were going on in the boat case the week that Paul and Maggie were murdered?
No, sir.
Do you know anything about civil discovery and how it can expose financial information?
No, sir.
Did you know anything about him being confronted on the morning of June 7th, 2021, about $792,000 of missing fees from his law firm?
Objection, Your Honor, but totally improper.
Objection's overruled. Did you know anything about that?
No, I did not.
You know any of the facts of those things that I just asked you about?
No, sir.
Ultimately, Judge Newman said that because Jim asked Will Loving a character witness question, it opened the door for the state to present further evidence of Alec's financial crimes, which then led to an in-camera hearing, and then led to that evidence being allowed in. AKA, it was a big mistake that Jim asked Will Loving that question. Now, that is the type of mistake, combined with a ruling in favor of the prosecution, that might be tough to repeat. Was it fair? Absolutely. Did it require really good lawyering on Creighton's end to seize the moment and really sloppy lawyering on Jim's part? Yes. Let's be clear. The financial crimes explain Alec's motive. Even though the state doesn't have to prove motive for its case, they do have to prove malice, and they can use motive to prove malice.
And then there was Judge Newman, He was fair, he was wise, and he was considerate. If the judicial system has a soul, it resides with this judge. In Alec's final moments standing before the court, Judge Newman explained his reasoning behind the sentencing, and in doing so, he spoke a truth so real that his words continued to echo in the minds of all those who watched.
And I know you have to see Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you. I'm sure.
All day and every night.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes, as you looked the jury in the eyes. I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person can cause your life to be tangled in such a weave, web, such a situation that yours have spun into. And it's so unfortunate because you had such a lovely family of such friendly people, including you, and to go from that to this. Your license to practice law has been stripped away from you. Turned from lawyer to witness, and now have an opportunity to make your final appeal as an ex-lawyer. And it's really surprising that you're waiving this right at this time. And if you opt to do so, it's on you. You're not compelled to say anything, but you have the opportunity to do so.
And I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
Well, and it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person. I've seen that before. The person standing before me was not the person who committed the crime, though it's the same individual. We'll leave that at that.
We've been reflecting on the magnitude of this case and what we hope it will mean for the future of law enforcement and prosecution in our state. More specifically, what it will mean for the future of other powerful people who break the law and assume that they can pay their way out of the situation. Until we are all held accountable to the same laws regardless of our positions of influence, our financial portfolios, our race, our age, our gender, our sexual orientation, our political beliefs, there will be no justice in the justice system, in our opinion. This verdict is a huge step in the right direction. We hope this outcome inspires those who work within the system and those of us who do not. Those of us on the sidelines who need to call out injustice when we see it. After the trial, we wanted to refocus our effort on the Stephen Smith case and getting to the bottom of what happened to Gloria Satterfield. And we did get some momentum going there. Our COJ co-host Eric Bland and his partner Ronnie Richter began representing Sandy Smith, and they used the money raised from Sandy's GoFundMe campaign to reopen the case forensically. At the same time, Eric and Ronnie were able to secure promises from SLED that solving this case really mattered to them. We continue to do our best to bring sunlight to what has been the darkest and most corrupt corner of our judicial system. Stay tuned, stay pesky, and stay in the sunlight.